So you just made I think, an airtight case that there was no reason to do this. Nixon was winning.
Absolutely.
The DNC wasn't running the campaign anyway. The whole thing was sloppy and stupid. But we know that the CIA had knowledge of it because everyone there was a former CIA.
And they did the charts. That's hugely important.
Did the charts
Gordon Liddy used to explain the plan to John Mitchell.
So we know that the CIA had a hand in orchestrating this break-in, which was unnecessary.
Absolutely.
So what the hell? Why?
You come back to why the break-in.
Yeah.
It's Gordon Liddy showing off. He's a madman.
But why would the CIA go along with it?
I can't respond to that part. Flip the coin, okay? The wrongdoing, the alleged wrongdoing is the CIA they knew, and they didn't tell anybody they knew, okay? You could make that case, that they watched it burn down. Then you ask yourself, who were they supposed to tell? Who were they supposed to tell?
Well, they work for the President of the United States.
And John Mitchell is alleged to have approved the plan. John Mitchell, the president's best friend. Who do you tell, we think you're making a mistake?
Well, you dispatch the director, Richard Helms.
Maybe you send Bob Woodward over to brief.
the former Navy intel officer. Right. So it's all very strange. So you believe that it was all because Gordon Liddy was greedy and reckless, and
without question, in my mind, based on knowing Gordon Liddy, but not knowing anything about the break-in. I mean, I have no personal knowledge.
But you worked there at the time. You had no idea.
I knew everybody, I did know the Cubans. I knew everybody from the White House that ended up being involved. I never set foot in the campaign headquarters. Terribly helpful. How did you survive, Geoff? Well, one, I never worked on any campaign. I worked on the governance side, not the campaign
You're a White House staffer. I get it. But when did you learn of the break-in? In the paper?
Yeah, in the paper. So my secretary had a roommate that was the secretary to the plumbers. Okay. I can't come up with her name, but she sent me an email just very recently. And she would tell my secretary that there were people that were under investigation they hadn't yet indicted, hadn't yet caught, because there are 5 people caught red-handed, and there were 2 others. And there was speculation in the press about who those 2 others might be. So Joanne Lemaire, my secretary, says, well, you know who they're talking about. And I said, well, no, I have no idea. She said, well, let me give you his initials. It's GGL. I said, it means nothing to me. And she says, it's G. Gordon, Geoff. And there's this shocked pause when I remember my fight to keep him off the staff and my telling myself that he's come, he's gone, and nothing's gone wrong. It turns out there's a whole lot that's gone wrong.
So can I ask, I've already said that I knew Gordon Liddy pretty well and really liked him. I found him enormously entertaining and smart and interesting. However, and he's gone now, so he can't defend himself. But that's so crazy to do something like that, to break into the DNC for no real reason in the middle of a presidential campaign you're winning anyway. If he drove that, and you're saying that he did, is it possible that he was working against Nixon?
No, he expected to get, based on his spectacular work on this campaign intel plan, that he would get a very high position in the second term. That's what was driving him. He has conversations with Howard Hunt and says to Hunt, you've played your hand. You've retired, you're older. I'm looking to impress these people so I get a more senior position. And he had dreams of grandeur. Now, the other issue, and it's in Len Kolodny's book, Silent Coup, he says there was a totally separate reason. And the reason had to do with John Dean's girlfriend, his fiancée. I know nothing about this story except to reproduce Len's work. He says the CIA was running a honey trap in the apartment building next door, Columbia Plaza Apartments. and they were catching foreign diplomats in compromising positions with good-looking women. And John Dean was dating the roommate of the Madame, Heidi Reichen, that was running the honey trap. And she was best maid of honor at John Dean's marriage to Mo Biner Dean. But when they were dating, Mo's nickname was Clout, because she was dating the counsel to the president. So she had clout. And according to Len, this is not me, this is Len Kolodny, John Dean became worried that Maureen Dean's picture was in the desk drawer where the diplomat, not the foreign diplomats, but the DNC field officers would come in to the campaign headquarters, and they were looking for a good time. And the DNC was availing itself of the honey trap next door.
The prostitutes.
The prostitutes. And what you would do, this is the allegation, what you would do is you sit at the desk, pull open the drawer, there's a picture book. You pick out somebody you like, you call the number and say, I like 15. And a few minutes later, 15 calls you back and arranges a date. Pretty good. Unless John Dean's girlfriend's picture was part of that portfolio. So according to Len, the reason for the break-in was to go back in, and if her picture was there, take it out. Now, one of the Cubans has a key, and the key is taped to his notebook, and when they are arrested, during the course of his arrest, he tries to swallow the key. Okay? He's damn lucky he didn't get shot. He's not successful. They wrestle him down. They get the key. And then they try to figure out where it goes. And I'll be a son of a gun. It goes to Maxie Wells' desk, which is alleged to have the photographs. Now, they didn't find that out. They didn't know what had opened for a long time. So the photographs are gone. But the story lingers.
Where was Maxie Wells' desk?
She was the secretary to a guy named Stewart. I'm blocking on the name. And it was the only phone, because he was running field operations that was apart from the DNC. So it was the only telephone that didn't go through the DNC switchboard. And she was his secretary. For the conspirators among us, his dad worked for Mullen and Company, which was a CIA front operation in Washington. So there's a remote CIA connection. Now, let me finish on that, because I don't disagree with this allegation that this break-in is just weird as it can be. Almost as weird as the Trump assassination. All these things should never have happened. But on the break-in, the issue that is so strange, it has to do with his John Dean's girlfriend and the stories that are told about it. And that's why John Dean runs the cover-up, because he's trying to protect his involvement, both in the meetings with John Mitchell and in this involvement with his fiancée. So it just gets weirder and weirder. Mullen and Company, again, the CIA front, they hire the first lawyer to come down to try to bail the 5 who've been arrested out of jail. His name is Douglas Caddy. And he shows up. They don't know they don't think, they've never retained him. He just shows up at the police station and says, I represent those 5 guys. We want to get him out of here. And the Cubans are saying to the police, we're on the same side. There's going to be a phone call and we're going to be out of here within the next half hour. Now, he doesn't say it, but, we're working for the president of the United States.
But the CIA jumps in to save the burglars. The Mullen and Company lawyer comes.
They send the lawyer over. I think what happens, again, this is all speculation, is Howard Hunt, who's not caught, goes back to the hotel room where the listening device is across the street. It's in the Howard Johnson's hotel across the street, and tells the guy who was supposed to be listening to the wiretaps, get your stuff and get out, get lost. And then Howard Hunt drives around Washington for a couple of hours. He's not caught, and decides the safest place to put his stuff is his office in the old executive office building, because he's a consultant to the plumbers. So he goes in 2 a.m., 3 a.m., leaves all his stuff in his safe. He's got too much stuff, so it's on the desk and in his safe. And then you switch, and we didn't put this in our documentary. All of this, the part I have to play is in a documentary. The FBI agent who is assigned, Angela Lano, who's assigned to the case from day one, he says, the burglars had 2 hotel keys at the Watergate Hotel where they were staying. So we went to their rooms. I went to one of the rooms, and all the evidence we could ever have needed is laid out on the bed. Here's their ID. Here's their wallets. Here's the sequential $100 bills. Here's an envelope from Howard Hunt, nominally from Miami, to pay his dues to a country club so it looks like he's a non-resident member. I mean, Howard's cheating on his dues.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. We hope you'll subscribe to it. And by the way, you can hit the little bell on there and get notifications every time we produce a video. We hope you'll do that also.